Can we talk about stress? I feel like I have been extremely stressed, particularly the last month or so. So we've been building a house. We moved here 2 years ago. We bought a block of land fairly quickly and we've been trying to build a house ever since. And just a word of advice, do not try and build a house during a pandemic. It's a shit show. I know that this is often a stressful process anyway, and I went into it knowing that there would be stressful aspects, but we couldn't predict that there would be massive delays on tradies, massive delay on all the supplies. We couldn't have predicted that our area was going to experience significant flooding, and all of these things have just combined to create the perfect storm. On top of that, we obviously have the financial stress of maintaining multiple houses because we're renting this one while we're waiting for the other one to be built, so we have the loan for the other one. Anyway, you get the picture. It's been quite stressful. For me personally, I think a big part of the stress is also that it affects my work. I don't film too much here. This is probably not a background that you recognize too much. I don't like filming here. The lighting's not great and I don't have beautiful big open spaces like we will have in the new house for me to film my yoga flows and meditations and that sort of thing. So all of this stress has also had me doubting my work, whether this is what I'm meant to be doing, and it's just like I go round and around and around and around. So I thought it might be helpful just to share some of the ways I'm trying to deal with the stress. Unfortunately, this stress is not going to go away in the next week, the next couple of months. We have no end date at this stage. So it is something I am going to have to live with. And sometimes this just happens. We have stresses that are completely out of our control and we have to find a way to keep going and to not let it consume us. So I thought it might be helpful if I was sharing what I'm trying to do. I'm not always doing it perfectly. Sometimes I spiral into the stress hole and end up like researching alternative living arrangements, buying a tiny home, buying a shed to live in. So here are the things I'm doing to try and manage the stress. So the first one has to be sleep. Stress is exhausting and it makes you just feel like absolute rubbish. And I've really found that I've got to get myself to bed so much earlier. I really need to be in bed by about 8 o'clock, no phone, reading a book so that by about 8:30 I can turn the lights out and have a good sleep. Even if I try and watch something as a distraction, by the time I turn it off and go to bed, it's like all of those thoughts about the build and about the stress just come flooding back as soon as I lay down in the dark. And so I need to kind of have some time to let myself process that. So I find reading is helpful because my mind will, while I'm reading, kind of flip to those thoughts, and it does this little process and a wind down, and it makes my eyes sleepy, and then I can actually get some good sleep. The second thing that I've really been trying to make a better effort with is food. I don't know about you, if you can see a little furry head there, this is Tulla. She won't leave me alone. I don't know about you, but when I'm feeling stressed, I just want to eat all the chocolate. I don't put a lot of energy into making really good meals, and it just ends up being a negative spiral of me not supporting my body with food. So the obvious things, not drinking too much caffeine, but then I'm really just trying to eat real food. So things that aren't processed, things that don't have an ingredients list. I'm trying to make a better effort to include things that have a lot of magnesium, a lot of zinc, a lot of B vitamins, because I know that they help to bring stress down. But I'm also not stressing about food either. I'm just trying to make some better choices, giving myself a break, picking easy options to get these things. So if it needs to be something that's pre-cut at the supermarket because I have no energy to make all that happen and do it all from scratch, then I'm going to pick that option, and just being really compassionate with myself, but also trying to feed myself well as well. So I'm not sure if this one surprises you or not. Even though I'm a yoga teacher, I too have to remind myself to get movement in my day when I'm feeling stressed. When I'm stressed, I want to reach for the quick fix. I want to reach for things that numb me, that help me to just not think about what's stressing me out and to just tune out. So I'm really trying to make an effort at the moment to get back into my daily yoga practice and at least 10 minutes of meditation, because I know that helps me to feel better. It doesn't get rid of the stress, but it makes me feel I can at least manage it instead of making me feel like I just want to lay in bed and not face the day. So I'm almost forcing myself onto my mat at the moment. I have to talk myself into that, but I always know as soon as I get there, it's like this instant relief. And some days my yoga practice literally just looks like me lying over a bolster. I figure if I've made it to my mat, I've won the day, and that's all that I'm doing. So there's no big pressure on myself for it to be this energetic routine. It really is just about getting on the mat and the magic can happen from there. I've also been trying to make a conscious effort to get out in the sunshine more. And I think this is one of the things about this house that I don't love, is that the outdoor space is not great. At our house at the coast, we had a big outdoor area and we literally lived out there. We used to eat most of our meals out there year round, even in winter. It was beautiful to be out there in the morning sunshine. This house, however, the sun rises on this side and sets on this side. So I'm currently looking at the main windows of the house, so we don't get sunshine in the house at any point in the day. So I'm trying to make an effort to get out in the sun at some point during the day, preferably in the morning, because I've read that that helps to set up that circadian rhythm and then helps you to sleep better, which when I'm stressed, I struggle to sleep because I wake in the middle of the night and think of all the things. And then the final thing that I'm really trying to do, and look, I'm not perfect, it's really hard to do. Sometimes I fall back into the trap of trying to control all the things that are out of my control, but that's where I'm really trying to focus on the things that I can control and doing my best to ignore the others, even though it's really hard to do because your home affects so much of your daily life. It is the foundation for your daily life. For me, it's also a big part of my work because I need a space to film in, all of these things, but I'm really trying to let go of the fact that I can't control when this house will be finished. I can't control how it's going to be finished, whether we're going to get potential increases, which is the latest stress, all of those things, and instead focus on really making myself happy. So I've spoken about a happy list before. I often use it when I'm really struggling, when I'm feeling sad or depressed, or in this case, incredibly stressed. And it's just a list of things that make me happy, a list of things I really want to focus on, and just a reminder to get back to those things and stop putting all my energy into this stuff that I can't control. So the main things on my list at the moment are decluttering and simplifying. So I'm really not happy in this space at the moment. I feel overwhelmed by all the stuff. One part of it is that it's a really small house, which I obviously can't control. But another part of it is we've just gotten so much stuff. We've been here for 2 years now, and I haven't done a big declutter since I've been here. So I've been trying to go around and really just minimize the things that we have, organize things a bit better, which I've probably failed to do because I've had this mindset of this place is temporary, don't worry about making it the best that it can be. But now I'm like, you know what, it needs to be right for now, because right now I need to not feel overwhelmed. And so I'm trying to just put the effort in to set it up so it really feels like home and I can reduce my overwhelm a little bit about being here. Another thing that I'm trying to put more energy into is doing DIY projects for the home. So I think this is why I like owning a home so much, and we've always in the past had renovators, is that I really like doing things around the house. I really like creating a beautiful space and designing spaces and doing up furniture to make those spaces feel like home. And not having a house for the last 2 years has stopped me from doing any of those projects because this hasn't felt like home and I haven't wanted to put the energy into making it feel like a home. So because this is something I can change, and yes, it is a mindset change because I create furniture that you don't have the house for yet, but it is helping me to feel like I'm getting somewhere because I can't control the house build. I can't do anything to make that speed up, but I can control making sure that I have the right pieces so that when we do move in, it feels like home immediately. So I went on Marketplace recently and bought this big cupboard that I'm going to do up for my office. I'm going to put cane webbing in the front of it where the glass used to be, and it's going to store all my filming equipment, which is great. So it feels like I'm getting somewhere both in my business, because this will be my office space, a space to work, and it's also somewhere I can just focus that stress energy when I'm frustrated at the builders, when I get another email that just makes me feel like rubbish. It's something I can practically and tangibly go and do and get rid of some of that energy. Other things on my happy list at the moment are just little things like getting back into making jewelry, getting back into writing more, all of the things I just love doing, but that I feel like I haven't been doing because I've been waiting to settle. Like I don't feel like I have a routine here. It's ridiculous. It's been 2 years. I have somewhat of a routine, but I don't feel like it's my ideal routine because so much of that stuff that I really love doing I've been putting on the back burner until this happens, until we get into a house, until we can get into a good routine there. And it's just, I've had enough. I need to start looking after myself better and making this ideal, even when it isn't, because that's within my control. I can't control the rest of it. And that's so much of stress, is that you can't control when it ends, how it ends. You can't stop it a lot of the time. Sometimes you can change your perspective on the stress and that will alleviate it. But in this case at the moment, I can't see how I can change my perspective other than the fact that I really have to let go of what I can't control and focus on what I can. So I hope that those tips were helpful if you too are going through something stressful in your own life. Take a deep breath. We're going to be okay.